The question was, what is the difference between myself and my opponent? I will tell you this much. I haven't gone negative against my opponent. My opponent has gone negative against me already. I could show you lit pieces that he's passing out saying that I want to raise a 23% tax on a sales tax on the middle class. That's ridiculous. My opponent has also said I want to privatize Social Security. That's ridiculous. My opponent has already started demonizing me. I would have never voted for cap and trade. I would have never voted for Obamacare. I would have never lied to you. I would have never lied to you. If I would have lied to you, I expect you to kick me out of office. My opponent was standing at the auto show when I introduced him to my fiancée, Amalia. And I said to him, this is my wife, blah, blah, blah. And he looked at me, he read an Oakland Press article, and he said, why are you running against me? Because I've known him for 18 years.
What's wrong with cap?
And I'll tell you in 1 second, sir. Let me finish this first, if you don't mind. And I said to him, I said to him, Gary, because you're unfit for service, you lied to Oakland County. Yeah. And I'll tell you why. Let me frame it for you, because I'm not here to castigate or to make him look like a bad guy. I was here to actually talk about what I'm about. But I will tell you, but you asked me that question, and you want an answer? Here's the answer. Here's what really angers me and frustrates me about Washington. Here's a guy, when I was overseas, before I got on the plane, and I'll tell you the exact date. It was September 8th, 2009. It was 1 o'clock in the morning. It was 110 degrees in Djibouti, Africa. It's called Djibouti. All right? I was in the Horn of Africa under Operation Enduring Freedom. I called a gentleman named Kent Perry. Kent Perry works for Kelly Services. I called him from an Iridium satellite phone to his cell phone. I got a hold of him. He was standing outside of West Bloomfield High School. Do you know what was happening in front of West Bloomfield High School?
I was there.
September 8th. September 8th was the town hall, the one town hall meeting on health care. And he said, I'm not sure if I'm going to get in. This is half an hour before I was making a flight to come home. My home, Oakland County. And he said, I'm not sure if I'm going to get in, because they just bust in a bunch of folks from Toledo to sit in the front rows and basically have questions. Yes, they bust in people. If you don't believe me, ask these were the people.
Sure.
Bust in? Okay. Now we're going to go to the next step.
Put them at the front of the line to get into the auditorium.
He busted people on that. Now it gets a step further. It goes a step further. And this is where it goes. Do you remember the day before the election, before the vote on health care? Do you remember that day? It was a Friday. Do you remember the position that my opponent took? Do you remember what he said to the newspapers and the radio interviewers and what he said to people in Oakland County? Do you remember what position he took? I will tell you. His position was he was undecided. He was undecided. Even on Saturday morning, he was undecided. On Thursday night, Speaker Pelosi passed out a list of 43 members. They were trying to shame. And by the way, Democrats don't just do this. Republicans do this too. It's called leadership games. And I know it because I was a leader in the State House as a majority leader. But I didn't play these games. What they do is they release lists of those members publicly that are against the health care bill. There was 43 members. They called them the Blue Dogs. Remember those? His name wasn't on there. So either he lied to his speaker or he lied to Oakland County. Now, let me take it a step further. Saturday came. He voted for the bill. He voted for it. Sunday he came home. Monday, do you remember what happened on Monday morning in Detroit? Vice President Biden came in to do a fundraiser. Came in to do a $1 million fundraiser for my opponent and Mark Schauer, the representative from the 7th District, the two targeted races down here in Southeast Michigan. Let me tell you one other thing about leadership and about how politics is played in Washington. They wouldn't have come here if he voted no. So either he lied to us, because let me tell you, the vice president's schedule was set weeks in advance because there were invitations printed for his $1 million fundraiser. So either he lied to us or he lied to Speaker Pelosi. And by the vote and by the fundraiser that was set up and by what he stated before when he said to people where he sent out letters saying, I'm undecided, undecided, and then afterwards he sent out letters to the same people, and I have both copies of the
We're not talking
letters.
about issues. We want to hear about cap and trade.
I will get to it, sir. Let me just, I will just say that. I'll still be behind, that's all right. But I just wanted to let you know, she asked a very valid point, and I want you to know what's in my heart as well, sir. I want you to know this, that he sent out letters after the fact, saying that he read the bill, and that most of Oakland County constituents believe that this bill was the right thing for them. That's just not the case, because it takes 3 days and 22 hours to read the bill nonstop. So if I did that to you, I would expect you to vote against me. Now, I hope you all don't mind. This gentleman had a question on cap and trade, so I'll take your question. Sir, go ahead.
You said you're against cap and trade.
Yes, sir.
Why?
Because it's a tax on energy use, and it basically creates an uneven playing field for us, manufacturing class. We talk about our economy. We talk about jobs. How are you going to provide jobs? How are you going to expand the middle class by eliminating manufacturing
Air
taxes?
inhalation problems is one of the greatest problems.
I'm sorry, sir?
Air inhalation problems, breathing is one of the biggest problems we have in our country.
Sure.
The biggest medical expenses that we have.
Well, sir, cap and trade is not the way to do it.
Making outdoor
Cap and trade is not the way to do it.
creating better
Yes, sir.
air.
We got 10 more minutes. We're going to go through a quick speed round. Sure, I'll stay longer, but... Well, I disagree with you, sir. I disagree with you. And I strongly believe that cap and trade will destroy manufacturing. I strongly believe that cap and trade will destroy manufacturing in the United States and will destroy our economy even more. Furthermore, I was against Kyoto. Let me just pursue the alternative is nuclear power, sir. The problem is,
My friend has very many polluted radioactive sites.
That's not true, sir. Not true, sir.
That's all right. That's all right, folks. He's allowed to have his opinion, just like we're allowed to have our opinion. That's what makes our country great. And I will defend your right to have your opinion, sir, but I disagree with you. And the problem is, you're sitting here under lights. You drove here with a car. I apologize. If we're really talking about our quality of life and what we need to do, then we need to get serious about it. But if you want to shut off these lights and make us pay for it, pay higher taxes, and really ruin this economy, as well as supporting an administration that would have signed something like Kyoto or even the Copenhagen Agreement, which would have made us pay $150 billion to developing nations because we've developed, is ridiculous. If you want to really put our country in a disadvantage and allow China to build more and manufacture more, and us at a greater disadvantage, we will sign cap and trade. We'll pay Copenhagen another. Are there any other questions? Yes, ma'am.
How would you change the subject?
Yes. I think George Soros and his billions of dollars that are affecting our Secretary of State races is something that is very scary to me. And I have a real problem with a group that says we need to limit spending in politics and money in politics here, but not for me. It reminds me of that book, Animal Farm. You remember? That all animals are created equally, but some animals are more equal than others. Well, that's what George Soros is, and it scares me. It scares me because my parents came to the United States living under the laws of the United States and making America a better country. My parents love this country. That's why I love this country. That's why I'm running for Congress. But there are a lot of people that are coming here that want to change the United States, and that's what bothers me. You come here to bring a benefit, not to try to change. Just 1 second, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Immigration, why don't we go back to what it was years ago where they limited the amount of people from each nationality coming into our country?
With a sponsorship program.
Right, because it is so out of control. That,
Absolutely.